Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Bricks webinar series. Pushpa Rawat and I'm your moderator for today's session. I would like to introduce our guest for the day, Mr. Srinivasa Reddy, the founder director of Classic Enterprises Private Limited, also the founder and CEO of Arto Precast Concrete. Mr. Reddy will be talking about buying into completed projects on Sarjapur Road. Mr. Reddy hails from Kolar district and was brought up in Bangalore. He achieved his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from BIT Bangalore. He is an entrepreneur with a mission and vision towards creating sustainable living spaces by adopting new innovations and concepts in his field of construction, operations, sales and marketing. He's also done MBA, which is an added feather in his cap. I would also like to welcome E. Jayashree Kuru, Head Editorial, MagicBricks.com. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She forayed into research in the year of 2002. She's a regular guest columnist with a number of established media, including the Times Group and others. Without any further delay, I would hand over the session to Jayashree.
Thank you, Pushpa. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. As Pushpa said, this is one effort to make sure that the consumers get access to so much information that they can make an informed decision when buying a property. Today, our focus is on the Sarjapur Road. And like Pushpa said, we've got Mr. Srinivasa Reddy, who will be taking us through his perspective of Sarjapur Road. But before that, we thought it is good to start with an independent perspective of what is happening on Sarjapur Road. I hope you can all see the screen. Sarjapur Road is a long stretch, a corridor, if you will, from the BTM layout to Sarjapur village. It developed because it is in close proximity to a lot of IT developments, and therefore there was a demand for residential properties that was coming up, and developers responded to that demand. It includes the Sarjapur Road, Belandur, Harlur Road, Kudubisinahalli, Kaikondanahalli, HSR Layout, Karmelaram, Domasandra, Bagalur, Panathur, and Doda Nekundi. I'm sure there may be some errors in my pronunciations, but this is research that has been done on Magic Bricks. The key takeaways about this property: it's the second most preferred locality in sales and the second most searched property on Magic Bricks, second most searched corridor on Magic Bricks. Now, another thing is that it is close to large IT and ITS campuses on the Outer Ring Road, Whitefield, and Electronic City. It has good social infrastructure, schools, and healthcare, and it is about 45 kilometers from the airport, 15 from Majestic Station, bus station, and the railway station. Now, Wipro has started, one of the reasons why Sarjapur is being picked up as an important destination. One, it is already in proximity to a large number of existing IT campuses. Then Wipro has started development of a 50-acre campus other than its existing corporate office campus. Infosys has also planned its corporate headquarters on this corridor. And Sarjapur Road and Whitefield together account for about 53% share of consumer preference. So clearly, the advice to you is if you work anywhere in Southeast Bengaluru, in IT majors like Infosys, tech parks like Cessna, Salarpuria, Touchstone, Vrindavan Tech College, Village, Intel, Global Technology Park, and many more, you can consider buying here because you'll be closer to your workplace. And this is an important thing that buyers have to keep in mind, especially in a city like Bengaluru, where traveling on the road takes so much time. Now, if you look at price trends within Sarjapur Road, you can see that price trends have either remained flat since September 2016, or it has gone up. In fact, the prop index that we will be launching in about a week's time actually shows that the price trends have gone up 2% on Sarjapur Road. It is a very high demand area. There is a lot of supply. Many of the properties are coming into occupancy stages. Now, if I look at, just to give you a small snapshot of the prop index, from Bengaluru, we've covered some of the main areas like Hebbal, Hennur Main Road, Bannerghatta Road, Horamavu, Whitefield, Kanakpura Road, HSR layout, Sarjapur Road, Marthahali, and Electronic City. Now, Sarjapur Road, the average existing price rupees per square foot is about 5,490. The size of a 1 BHK on Sarjapur Road is roughly about 682 square feet. 2 BHK about 1153 square feet, and 3 BHK 1606 square feet. In terms of price, it is, these are average prices. The unit that you look at may not be exactly this price, but it's good to have benchmark pricing. The average price of a 1 BHK is around 28 lakh, 2 BHK is around 52 lakh, and 3 BHK is around 84 lakh. In terms of physical infrastructure, like I told you, the distances from the airport, the bus station, and railway station are one key indicator. The satellite town ring road, this is a 300 feet, 8-lane road that will pass through Sarjapur and continue on to the State Highway 35. The proposed peripheral ring road also should be passing through Sarjapur Road and will provide 8-lane connectivity to Tumkur on one side and Hosur Road on the other. As per the current BDA master plan, this corridor will have abundant greenery, as most parts are marked as valley or lake zones. And you know that the National Green Tribunal has already issued strict guidelines on construction near lakes. So this will ensure large open spaces. In many parts of Bengaluru, for a city that was touted to be the garden city of the country, new developing areas have been facing a crunch on open spaces. And open spaces are always adding to your growth of property values, because open spaces do mean that there is more green areas, there is more breathing space, and it also relieves urban stress. The lakes around Belandur and Sarjapur area are considered by many birding groups as the best place in Bengaluru to watch water birds. That was just a little bit of information that I thought may be interesting to you. Now, like I said, schools and hospitals are there. You've got the best residential schools here, the International School, Greenwood High, and so many more. The biggest mall on the corridor, the Total Mall on the outer ring road, and 2 new malls are being developed on the Sarjapur main road, very close to the Wipro campus. In terms of Magic Bricks ratings, and these are not ratings that Magic Bricks gives, it is open to consumers, and consumers come and rate localities on the basis of connectivity, social infrastructure, water availability, and so on. And consumers have given it a 3.5 out of 5, which is a good rating for a locality. Like we gave you earlier, we are giving you the price of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 BHKs and the relative sizes of these properties. On Sarjapur Road, demand matches supply. The maximum demand we see is for 2 and 3 BHK, and as an upcoming corridor, it has a number of options of ready to move in and under construction properties that will be ready for possession by 2017. One thing that we have noticed is that on Sarjapur Road, and as well as much of the rest of the country, under construction properties are less in demand. Ready to move in properties are what is currently in demand. And I'll keep the previous slide open, and now I go over to Mr. Reddy. Mr. Reddy, we've given you a Magic Bricks overview of Sarjapur Road. Would you like to give your overview before we start taking the questions?
Yeah, as you rightly said, see, if you look at the Sarjapur Road by itself is well connected by both the sides. That is, if you look at from the outer ring road and then the IT corridor, if you look at the Hosur Road and the Electronic City, and that connection wise is very good and the location wise is very good. That is why I feel there's a huge demand, and the Wipro coming up with this new campus of 50 acres. And then there's one more new campus which is coming up, a private campus, like how the eco space has been done on the outer ring road. So I think there's a lot of demand which is going to be there in future. That's what I feel about the overall view of Sarjapur Road.
Okay. Shall we go on to the queries now?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. We've got Chandrakant from Chennai saying, I am planning to buy a property on Sarjapur Road. Wanted to know how is the locality for investment purpose and what all amenities are available in your project.
Yeah, when you look at the investment perspective, I feel it is the right place to look at it. Reason is because, as you rightly said, the kind of demand on Sarjapur Road in future years to come ahead, I think they should go at investment as a very good option. Then coming to the amenities in our project, it is I can tell you it is a fully loaded amenities like.
Why don't you give the name of your project for the benefit of our listeners?
Pardon, tell a little about our project.
Yeah.
It is a 11-acre property, the classic landmark which is being developed. It is just located opposite to Amrutamaya Engineering College, and then it is done in 3 phases. The first phase is almost complete for occupation, and then already about 60 families are staying. Then the second phase is already started now. That's about the entire project. Then coming into the amenities, we have a very big swimming pool, which is both for child friendly and a big one for the elders. Then we do have a big clubhouse, which is loaded with a lot of amenities. And then when you look at the footprint of the entire complex, which is coming up, is only about 22%. So if you look at almost about 68 to 70% is open spaces. And then in fact, we received a green building award for all these reasons, because there's a lot of open space, then very less carbon footprint which was used. So I feel in every way our project seems to be good.
I think we are having a little connectivity issue with you.
Bedroom houses, which vary from 1,600 square feet to up to 2,000 square feet. And one more USP of the project is it's only a 3-bedroom developed complex. So it has a lot of other advantages and this thing.
Yeah. Mr. Reddy, I think we did have a little connectivity issue with you in between, but I'm sure you've covered that in what you said after that. We've got R.V. Srinivasan from Bangalore. He's a businessman and wants to know, with a budget of 1 crore, which is the best place to invest in Bangalore? Mr. Reddy? Pushpa?
Yes, Jayashree. I think there's some connectivity issue at this side. We'll get back to him.
Yeah. So can we get him back on?
Yes, Jayashree. We'll take a few seconds.
Yeah. Viewers, please bear with us. I think guest is having a few connectivity issues. We'll quickly fix this and get back. So hold on. We're right here. In the meantime, I think this chart that we have on the screen, where we're talking about projects, these are some of the ways in which you can actually figure out which project to buy into. We've got 43 projects that are in the ready to move in stage.
Yeah.
Mr. Reddy is back, and we'd like to go on with our discussion. Mr. Reddy, we've got R.V. Srinivasan from Bangalore, who's a businessman and wants to know, with a budget of 1 crore, where should he invest in Bangalore?
Is he looking at a newly started one, or is he looking at, see, there are 2 options he can look at. The one is where the project is just started off. If he's looking at payments to be spread over for a longer period, I feel from an investment perspective, it is better to look at that way. Because if you look at the growth potential or the appreciation potential from the beginning to the end of the completion of the project, it will be better to invest in a upcoming project. If he's really looking at our project itself is there, where our second phase, which is just now started, they can look at that. or else even for a completed project, the other advantage is appreciation may be a little lesser, but you can start getting the rental as one of the returns from the investment.
Okay. Mr. Reddy, I think one of the reasons why consumers had started looking for ready-to-move-in properties was because over the past few years, we have seen significant delays in, the risk of delayed projects was very high. Now we have some policy interventions that are happening. I think from May onwards, we should be having the regulatory authority set up in every state. Would you like to briefly touch upon it and tell consumers what your perspective is about the policies and how they will impact consumers?
Correct. If actually I'll put you a little onto the prop equity analytics, whom they have done a little bit of analysis on the projects which were started from 2011 to 14. If you really look at that, almost 78% of the projects have got delayed because of various reasons. So in that case, I feel it is better to, as you rightly said, to go into new projects which are completed and ready to occupy. See, if you look at even Mumbai especially, there's almost a 20-month delay. And then NCR was about 30-month delay. Even in Bangalore, there are about 15-month delay for about 669 projects, whatever they have made a total analytics. So I feel it is better they go for a ready to occupy. And even we also see that in our own clients who are actually looking at ready to occupy now more than the new starting projects.
For consumers who are buying under construction projects, will the regulatory authority, RERA, the RERA authority coming up?
Correct. Yeah, the RERA bill coming to effect from, I think there is another 1 month time for us. What the RERA bill says is to overcome all these problems what our clients are facing. We have to, the developer has to deposit the entire amount into the one account, an escrow account, wherein which only 30% of the amount can be utilized or drawn from that account for their other uses. But the 70% of the amount has to be spent onto the project as it is. So this one actually helps in fund being put onto the project and the fund doesn't get diverted. If you see most of the builders actually what they do is they collect almost about 50% of the sale, whatever happens on launch of a project. And then they start diverting on investment on the land and things like that. And if the market doesn't support them, like what happened in 2008, and even recently what we are seeing from the last 6 months, the sale is not as good as what it used to be. So these things get affected onto the completion of the project. So in this bargain, what happens? The clients get really penalized for no reason of theirs. And then apart from this, because of this regulatory authority, all the plans have to be completely approved, and then without approval, we cannot launch a project. Commencement certificate has to be taken. Then the completion certificate has to be taken on the total project. And then there are a lot of penalties for the developer if there is any delays on his part of the completion of the project. And financially and the time schedules, and regarding the quality, the builder has to give them warranty period after completion. So all these things I think are in favor of the builders, in favor of the buyers, customers or the buyers, so which will help both of them to sustain in the long run.
So consumers, there are 2 points that Mr. Reddy made right now. One is that if you are an investor, when you buy into early stages of construction and early stage development localities, the net return that you get in the long term will be higher. But for that, you will also have to take a risk. Earlier, the risk was very high, and like he said, about 78% of projects were delayed over the last few years. But with the new regulatory mechanism that is coming, developers have to actually complete projects on time, and it is being mandated to protect the consumer from the risk of delayed projects. Therefore, if you are an investor and you want to buy into the new launched projects, it is probably time for you to consider that you will get better returns, but the regulatory process is just unfolding. So maybe you should hold on a little more if you want to buy early stage properties, or buy into completed projects where you can get good rental returns, so that once you buy it, your rental returns are regularly coming in, right? Now let's go on to another query. We've got Dushyant Khare, who says he's interested in buying a duplex of around 1200 square feet and his budget is around 70 lakh. Could you please assist selecting the area that I should try? My preferred locality is North or South Bengaluru. This will be for investment purpose for 3 years. Now, two things, Mr. Reddy. He's asking for North and South Bengaluru, and you're talking about Sarjapur Road, which is towards the southeast of the city. Please advise him on investment prospects in your corridor, and if you would like to briefly touch upon the other parts of the city that he mentioned.
If you ask me, because he is looking at investment for a long term, as you rightly said, RERA bill coming into effect shortly. So the ambiguity among the buyers, that the delays in the project and all other problems will get solved automatically. So if he's really looking at, I think he should look at south of Bangalore than the north of Bangalore, which is south being the most happening place as of now. And even in future also, I feel the south and southeast of Bangalore has more potential than the north. But north is also hyped a bit. Unless the commercial sector gets developed in the north of Bangalore, I don't see the residential requirement to be that very high. I hope that even the commercial sector should pick up. So I feel right away, if you ask me, you should look at the south of Bangalore for investment.
Right. Let's go to Amit. We've got Hamid Khan, a regular Facebook user, who has sent his query via the Facebook. He says that Bengaluru is one of the states to have the highest unsold inventory. What initiatives are you taking to bring buyers back to the market?
No, I think he has got his analytics wrong. If you ask me, Bangalore has, if you look at the stocks compared to the metro cities, I think the NCR tops the list. Next is Mumbai, and then next is Chennai, and we come under the 4th or 5th place. So Bangalore is not so bad when you look at the available stock in the market. I think we have only about 15 months or 16 months stock. If you ask me about 6 months back, when I referred, it was about 18 months stock. I think now it is further come down because there were no new launches which happened last few months.
Right. In fact, there have been no new launches, so the existing stock is coming into completion. Yeah, and you're also seeing a slight rise in property values, maybe 1% to 2%, but that actually shows that the consumers have started, this regained consumer confidence.
Coming back, yes. No, all these things, as you rightly know, the market also has played a little this thing like demonetization, and all these things have the sentiments of the people is down a little. It's not that there's no demand. Demand is there because of the littlement about the sentiments of the people. They're not coming forward to buy the property. I think now things are changing after the new budget and all new things happening now. I hope in a few months, I think the market should again pick up.
Okay. Mr. Reddy, consumers are raising some other issues also. There is Jay Khanna, who's a regular forum user, who says the groundwater level is at an all-time low in the city. How are you ensuring that there is continuous water supply in your project? Are there alternative sources of water supply that you might have arranged?
Yeah, if you, of course, as he rightly pointed out, the Bangalore is facing a huge water shortage because Kaveri is the only one water source which is supplying to Bangalore, and most of the developers and builders are dependent more on the local water bodies, that is the borewells. Recently, government has brought in very strict norms about groundwater recharge. So that is one of the things what even we have implemented in our project. Apart from that, as you look at an alternative sources, the borewell is what we are depending upon. So as of now, we haven't faced any issue in our project. But I know in Bangalore there's a huge water shortage as of now.
Okay. There is Mihika from Mumbai who's raised another issue. She says that, do you think the Karnataka government should slash stamp duty to push residential sales?
In fact, this was one of the topics which even CREDAI is fighting out for the affordable sector. See, the affordable sector is one wherein which there's a huge potential, and that being a very high in demand, and then the affordability of the people who are at the lower segment of the pyramid, if you see, they are facing a lot of problem, and even developers find it very difficult to build and give it at a 10 lakh affordable level or a 15 lakh affordable level. So if government also supports us in reducing the registration fee or completely taking away the registration fee, I think that will help a lot in bringing down the cost on an overall segment. But this, even last time budget, CREDAI actually put in a representation for reducing the registration fee, but the government didn't deal for it. But they didn't make any change as of now.
Right. We've got Ranbir from Bangalore, who's a regular Magic Bricks forum user, who asks, home loan rates have been lowered by banks. Will it give a leg up to the real estate in your city?
Surely. No, that is directly related. No, if you really see the home loan segment, there's a paradigm change from what we used to look at a few years back. And in future, I think the home loan rates will further go down is what everybody is expecting. Maybe another 0.25% or something like that. So this will give a real big boost for the housing sector. Because when you look at the rental and the interest what they pay for on the home loan what they take, it directly gets set off, and then there's a huge income benefit, income tax benefit according to ATC. On the principal, there is a 1.5 lakh deduction is there, and then according to Rule 24C of Income Tax Act, on the interest part there's about 2 lakh deduction. So home loan is a really good method of this thing, which can really boost our residential sector.
Okay. We've got Anandini, who's voiced something that a lot of other consumers also have been regularly asking. What are the new infrastructure developments taking place in Sarjapur Road? I'm looking to buy a residential property for investment. How much return can I expect in this region? Please suggest.
Yeah. If coming to the infrastructure development, government is bringing in the new CDP law, and as you rightly said, the outer ring road or the peripheral ring road, which is also earmarked for the connection. So that runs and cuts the Sarjapur Road, which will give us a very good connectivity towards Tumkur side and towards the Hosur side. Of course, as of now, also Sarjapur Road is well connected towards Hosur side and the Old Madras Road. So in that way, infrastructure, there is a huge development which is also happening. Then coming to the other question of appreciation wise, if she is planning to invest on this side. See, all these years, on an average, if you take, because it used to be about 25% on a yearly basis on the investment, whatever they do. But only from last year, it has slightly come down. But I am very sure it will not go less than 15% on whatever investment they are looking at on a year-on-year basis.
How long should somebody hold the investment to get good returns?
What I see is normally when a project starts off, that is when even the builder also offers the price at a very low level, because one is he wants to attract more customers to buy his property, and plus he is also looking at initial cash inflow or money inflow into the project. So the normally developer on a pre-launch stage, he will always keep the budget at a very low level. So that is when I think they should buy the property and then hold on for about 2 years. When the project comes to an end or comes to a completion, then is when the developer also increases the price to the maximum level. So then is when I think they should come out of the project.
So that's normally about 4 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think about 3 years. I think 3 years should do. 3 years should do.
3 years should do. So if you invest today in an early stage property, you think
Correct.
that in 3 years that person should be able to exit with good returns, right?
Yeah, good returns. True. That is true.
Okay. Naeem is a regular forum user and asks, I'm considering pre-launch projects and want to know about the credibility of builders. How should I choose a good pre-launch project? First of all, is pre-launch allowed?
Okay. Now, if you really look at it, see now RERA bill coming to picture. See, any of the CREDAI members, whoever are under the umbrella of CREDAI, I think they can really watch on them, and then I don't think whatever RERA bill is trying to put in the conditions and these things. In fact, we all the RERA means to tell you the CREDAI members are already adopting the RERA bill concept and RERA bill rules. So I feel they should look at any CREDAI member in this area to look at for a very good investment.
Typically, a pre-launch project is when you haven't got all the approvals, right? According
Correct.
to RERA, if I'm not mistaken, you cannot launch without all approvals. So I don't think.
Yes, they cannot at all. And then one more thing, once the RERA bill comes, everything goes online, so they can straight away check online, and then this body authorizes and gives a very clear this thing for any project, for example. So once the clearances are obtained from this authority, they can straight away invest. I don't think they should worry about it. They shouldn't look at the second builders and the tertiary builders who are not part of the RERA bill or the CREDAI.
Yeah. Naeem, there are two important things that you have to consider. Please go for launch projects and not pre-launch projects. Pre-launch projects are those which don't have the approvals. Launch projects are the ones where the developer has approvals and is launching at a lower rate because it's a new project and he wants consumers to start buying into it. So buy into a launch project. Please do not go for pre-launch. The government has been saying this at various forums. So we would like to emphasize that. The second, as Mr. Reddy said, is the credibility of the builders. And maybe Mr. Reddy will spend another minute on this. If you can tell our consumers, how do you check what are the 5 things you should check about the builder that will ensure that you know all about the credibility of the builder?
Yeah, as of now, just give me a second. I think, just 2 seconds. I think there's a small technical issue. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. Consumers, please bear with us. It won't take more than another half a minute to fix this problem.
Yeah. This was a good question, Ms. Jayashree. See, what you should really look into when somebody is looking at buying a property. See, all these years, if you look at, they'll look into the credibility of the developer. They should check into how old the developer is, and then how many projects he has completed, and then that is what people used to follow all these years. But now, if you really look at it, things are going to change from a few months from now. That is once the RERA bill comes in. So the authorities will check everything, what is happening now, and then they will make the suitable corrections. Unless and until the authority is very clear about it, they will not even allow the developer to launch the project first place. And then there is a monitoring authority on a regular basis, on a month-on-month basis. Everything has to be uploaded onto the net, and then everything will be monitored by this authority. So I don't think people should worry more about these things once the RERA bill is in picture, because there is even the RERA bill has a very strict rules for the builder also. So he cannot deviate from, there are a lot of penalties and then a lot of other things which are very strict about it. So I think they shouldn't worry about it. One is they should look at the CREDAI members, and then whether everything is there on the RERA bill, whether they are complying with the RERA bill concept.
Actually, Naeem, there are 2-3 things that we would like to add as as Magic Bricks. One of the
Correct.
things is, please look at the track record of the developer.
Correct.
There may have been small delays here and there, but if in general the intent to deliver is showing in the past projects, that really is one of the criteria when you choose a developer. Correct. The second thing that we would like to emphasize is that the developer, what is the quality of development of previous projects? If the projects go talk to the existing users, they give you the true picture about how happy they are staying there. Because remember that you're buying into a project that takes about 3 years to complete, and then you spend a lot of time living there. And if the developer is actually holding your hand post-delivery maintenance and maintaining it well, that means that you have a good place to stay in. So these are things that you should look at. And of course, like Mr. Reddy said, RERA is going to make it much simpler because most of the information will be available online. We've got Bindu, a housewife and a forum user, who says, how is the water availability in Doda Kanali on Sarjapur Road?
No, as I rightly told you, see, there is the BWSSB water supply is not that very great. So there's a lot of dependency on the bore wells around that area. I feel there is sufficient borewell water as of now, and groundwater recharge is also happening year on year. I think things should improve. The same problem, if I want to tell you an example, if you look at Chennai, they had a real problem a few years back on the water body, and because of the rainwater harvesting and the groundwater recharge, now all the borewells are really recharged, and then at about 70-80 feet they're sufficiently having very good water source. I hope Bangalore also will take to this with government putting a lot of pressure on the local, even the individual owners, and making it mandatory to get into this. So I think this will surely help in a few years to come. Let us hope for that.
Yeah, we'll say amen to that, because actually Chennai leads the country in what the kind of magic that you can effect if you are serious about groundwater recharge. And from a situation where they had saltwater influx into the water bodies to water 70 feet, you can hit good fresh water. It has actually changed things around, and we hope that the same will happen with Bangalore as well. And there is Mani Raju Karnan, an MB Facebook user, who says, I'm looking for a 2 BHK on Sarjapur Road. Kindly help me with the values and benefits of investing. Now, before you answer this, Mr. Reddy, we see that there are a lot of people who are looking at investment in Bangalore. Is Bangalore an end user market, or is it an investment market? Please address the issue and also the question that he asked.
Yeah. If you ask me, the end user, Bangalore is an end user market. Yes. If you look at the entire metro cities in India, Bangalore stands first when it comes to the end user. Even if you look at the price change, I think you would have also seen that NCR or when compared to Mumbai and all, there is a huge price change when there is any market demand or supply which goes down or goes up. The reason being, there are a lot of investors who are there in these upmarket towards north, that is Mumbai or NCR. Whereas Bangalore has always been very constant when you look at the pricing. Even in 2008, when there was a dip in the market, Bangalore didn't fall down to that great extent. And even if you see 1 year back, there was some price corrections which happened in Mumbai and Delhi. But Bangalore was a very constant market. There was a small corrections, of course, that is a small variation. This was supported by the end user market, because the end users always look at the major component. If you on an average, if you ask me, I think more than 70% are end users in our experience, what we have seen, at least in our projects. There may be a small percentage of 15 to 20% as the investor market.
Right. Would you like to tell us the profile of that investor? Are they professionals? Are they from the city? Are they from other cities?
Yeah, if you look at Bangalore has a lot of people who have come from other cities. The major, in fact, the local Bangalore, if you see today, you don't find any local Kannadiga in most of the locations. It's all mixed culture has happened now. It's more of a metro. Bangalore has become more of a metro. So that is because of the IT segment, which took off from last 1 decade. So it is more of outsiders here than more of local. So that's why the huge demand of end users are there because of the software development.
And Anahita from Pune says, is Bengaluru losing out to Pune as an IT destination?
There is a little talk about it. That is because of not because of the people or because of the this thing IT development. It is because of a little bit of the infrastructure and the traffic. If you really look at off late, I think our government is not that very swift in acting on doing the development of the widening the roads or bringing some new flyovers and better connectivity or infrastructure connections, especially the south and south of Bangalore, where there's a huge IT potential or IT development which happened, and even the population has also become enormous. Because of that, I think people are a little bit frustrated when compared to Pune. They feel that okay, Pune is more infrastructure-wise more developed and things like that. But I think things should improve because even our government is becoming proactive and they are also realizing about that. In this new CDP, I think they have planned. They have a huge plans for development of the infrastructure. I think things should improve. Government is not catching up with the pace. That is what we see. The intentions are there.
When will this translate into something on the ground?
We are hoping, I think, next 4-5 years things should happen because even in this budget, government has announced a lot of projects for infrastructure development, including the water supply, the power projects, and if you see the central Bangalore, now they have come up with a new scheme, which is like a road widening scheme, and then separating out all the water and sanitary connections separately so that they don't dig the roads often as usually it used to happen. So I think things should improve now.
Okay. There is one more issue that I think Ayush from Delhi has talked about, which a lot of consumers are discussing these days. Do you think GST will give a push to the affordable housing dream of the central government? How do you view the affordable housing scheme in your state and your city?
Yes. Now, if you look at any city for that matter, the services, that is, if you look at the affordable sector, that's where the most of the demand is there. That is the price range. If you look at, of course, government has segregated between 300 square meter and 600 square meter to be the affordable sector.
30 and 60 square meter.
Yeah, correct. 30 and 60 square meter. Sorry, it was 300 square feet or 600 square feet.
Yeah.
So if you look at that segment, I think in any metro city there is a huge requirement for that segment as such. But because of the land cost, which is huge, which is more, that is why I think even developers are finding it difficult to get into that segment, especially in the present locations. Maybe I think in the outskirts, once the government gives us a very good connectivity, I think that segment should improve a lot from the affordable segment as you're talking about.
What is the impact of GST that you see coming on real estate?
Correct. If you look at the GST, the overall analysis of the experts, what I've heard to, I think it's going to bring in about 5 to 6% on the overall tax reduction when you're looking at a developer perspective. So I think
will that be immediate or staggered?
Yeah, I think even the prices, if you look at for the new launches, what will happen once the GST comes into picture, and then the other RERA bill come into picture. I think the new prices will also get corrected accordingly, and then the developer, I think, will accommodate for that price correction, and then they may launch at the new prices, whatever is going to help them out.
Okay. We've got Kanchan Singh, who has approached us through Twitter. She says that I'm looking for a 1 BHK in Sarjapur Road. I need to know my options and the amount I will be paying for this unit. Would you like to talk about 1 BHK units? It seems to be a format that is in demand.
Yeah, that is because of the affordability levels. If you look at 1 BHK from the developer's perspective, the division wise, if he's developing about 100 apartments, they normally look at only about 10% of the total development. for a 1 BHK. I think if you look at the price wise, I think they should look at in this Sajapur Road location, maybe around 20 lakhs to 25 lakhs is what you can look at a 1 BHK price.
How do we choose which unit to buy? Would you be able to give some rule of thumb kind of discussion? What should they look for when they look for 1 BHK units?
Sorry, Jayashree, I think your voice broke. Can you please repeat the question once more?
What can you give them some rule of thumb? How do you decide which developer to go to, which project when you're looking for 1 BHK? Remember, they have very limited budgets, and
It has, if you ask me, there are two views about it. As the secondary market now is a little low if you look at demand wise. One is they have to wait for it. But if you look at the available market, the prices are low. So for him to buy a project which is there now makes sense. But for him to sell, I feel if he can wait for some time, will be better is what I think. So he can get a better price on the one which is he wants to sell it, but he can take the advantage of buying a new one where the price is a little low as of
now. Right. There is Sharnagat. I would like to add a little advice from Magic Bricks. What we notice is that a lot of consumers want to sell and upgrade, but right now the seller's market, it's not a seller's market, right? It's a buyer's market. If you can afford it, one of the things you could do is probably book the unit that you want to upgrade to and wait for another 6-8 months. We expect the markets will correct themselves in the next 6-8 months and become more robust. That's the time when you could sell and put down your loan. The way to do this is go approach a bank and figure out how much loan you can get to buy a new apartment, and then try and put down that loan. Then you can sell this apartment. Another thing is, remember that if you want to buy at the lowest price, you can't sell at the highest price. So maybe you can rationalize your expectations. If you can find a good buyer, and even if it is not the best price that you get, but if you can sell, remember that the project that you want to buy into, the prices there will also go up. So maybe you should become a little rational in your expectations and try and shortlist the property that you have and sell at whatever price, the best price that you can get. But make sure that you don't lose out on property values even when you sell, because that really is not the intent of a home buy.
True.
We've got
that's the right way they can do that.
Right. We've got YK Agarwal. He's a prospective home buyer and he's approached Magic Bricks Forum and says, what is the budget range of properties being offered by you? Is there room for price negotiation for us?
Yeah, our budget starts off from 1 crore plus, the 3-bedroom, which is about 1,600 square feet, and goes up to about 2,000 square feet. The total budget being about 1.4 crores. Of course, there is a slight negotiation. They can come forward and meet us and see the project. Once they like the apartment, then we can offer them a good price on that.
Mr. Reddy, normally when you negotiate, what kind of negotiation happens? Do you give more features and facilities, or do you negotiate on the per square foot rates, or maybe the lump sum rates that people pay? How does negotiation happen?
No, if you actually look at BS Classic, see, our prices are always very reasonable. If you look back even into our history of our pricing and the projects which all we have completed, this term of negotiation may not be a proper word to be used. Normally, we don't have that scheme of negotiation and things like that. But what has happened is now the market people are forcing us, whoever comes here, they ask, okay, what is that price you can reduce and things like that. But we always tell our customers, see, you have to look at a project for its quality and other standards, whatever we give them. And then you should compare our pricing with the other projects which are all around here. And then see, it is not that we increase the price and reduce it just to satisfy the customer. So they will really realize that our prices as it is, whatever we are quoting, are very low. And just to give a little bit of comfort feeling for a customer, once he comes and selects and this thing, because always any customer is the king today, he will always say, no sir, you have to give me some discount and things like that. So we just give a little marginal discount and then try to make a client more comfortable and not to disappoint his expectations.
Right. Consumers, please understand that while there were some unrealistic predictions of 30 to 40% drop in property values, we haven't seen that happening anywhere in the country. In fact, what we have seen is a stable market where prices may not have gone up. But if you, like Mr. Reddy said, because you are expecting a small price correction and that price correction has not happened, what developers like him do is, if you are a serious buyer with a checkbook, you sit across a table with a checkbook, he is willing to give a small discount. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was a nice session, Mr. Jayashree. Thank you very much.
With that, I would like to keep participating in this webinar session. Keep posting your queries at the MagicBricks Real Estate Forum and get it answered by experts. Log into www.magicbricks.com/forum. You may also write to us at editor@magicbricks.com. Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Pushpa, and thank you.